training, our sales training is the best in the real estate industry right now and has been for a long time. And I'm going to tell you why it is the best in the training in this industry. It's because I am a licensed real estate agent. I was a long-time hardcore outbound prospector. When I first got into the business, I didn't have a sphere of influence. I didn't have past clients. Back then, my broker said, hey, here's a list of these old crappy scripts we printed off the internet. Go call a bunch of for sale by owners and expireds and say this to them. So I did it and I kept doing it. And I over time got much better at doing it to the point that I became one of the top FSBO and expired listing agents in my market. And I was taking on average between 5 and 6 listings every single month by doing cold outbound prospecting. And then I added in circle prospecting for rent by owners, all of that stuff, and then started buying internet leads. At a certain point in my career, another guy in my office came to me and he said, hey, I've got this little team, 5 agents doing about 100 transactions a year. I want to scale it and I want to go big. And I said, okay, let's figure out how to do that. Let's figure out how to teach these people how to generate a lot of leads and close them and set a lot of appointments and close a lot of deals. So we did that. We scaled that team from about 5 agents and 100 transactions to over 30 agents and over 650 transactions. A big part of what I did was developed an inside sales department. An inside sales department is just a bunch of people that you pay a salary to sit in the office, call, text, email, DM leads all day long and book appointments for agents to go out and show houses or book appointments for agents to go out and take a listing. So in developing that, it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of strategy and technique to be able to take a stranger with no real estate experience and teach them how to become a high producing lead generator and appointment setter quickly because they're expensive. So for the last 9 years, my sales training company has been teaching and perfecting these techniques and strategies to help you agents and ISAs close more deals, convert more of your leads into good qualified nurtures, good qualified appointments, and get them all the way to closing. That's why our training is the best in the industry. Okay. It's also the reason why companies like Robert Slack Group, if you don't know who they are, or Livian, if you don't know who they are, they're in the top 5 of mega teams throughout the US, according to the Real Trends list of 1,000. And they are clients of my company. They consult with us. They fly us in for training. They look to us to guide and lead their agents in doing a better job and elevating their sales skills. So that's what I'm talking. That's who you're talking to today. That's who's presenting to you today. And I know a lot of you are new here and haven't seen any of our training before. A lot of the training webinars that I do is really hands-on, where instead of a webinar like this, we're on a meeting and I'm talking about a topic and we're role-playing and we're practicing that topic to really make an impact in your skills. But today we're talking about business planning. And it's not so much business planning. It's much more about goal attainment. And it's about the difference or the delta between where you are and who you are and where you want to be and who you want to be, right? So for that reason, we're not really on a meeting today. We're on a webinar because I want you focused on you. I want you thinking about you, and you're going to be writing some stuff down today. So first thing we're going to do, I want you to think all the way back to December of 2023 or even January of 2024. What was your goal for 24? How many houses did you want to sell? How much money did you want to make? Chat it in. In 2024, at the beginning of 2024, how many houses did you want to sell? How much money did you want to make? Chat it in for me. As I loudly sip my tea into the microphone. Okay, good, good. We're chatting it in. Now, as you're thinking about that, what was your actual for 2024 at the end of 2024? Just 8 days ago. 8 days ago, where did you end up in 2024? Home sold, income generated. Chat it in. So for most of you, some of you might have gotten close to your goal. Some of you might have even have hit your goal. But I know for a fact that a lot of you fell short of your goal. Now, part of it probably was that the market was more difficult. The market's been tough. Inventory's been short. Yes, get all of that. I understand that. However, there's something about the goals that you set. And at the end of the day, you did not take the action that needed to be taken in order to achieve the goal you had set for yourself. Hopefully you understand that concept. It's a very basic concept. So next step is, what is your goal for 2025? How many houses do you want to sell? How much money do you want to make? Go ahead and chat it in. Chat it in. Okay. All right. Good. Now, here's the big difference. Now, this is for those of you who did not hit your goals in 2024, this next question. Or it's also for those of you who want to go even farther than where you went in 24. If you did hit your goals or got close, but you want to push farther, or you didn't hit your goals, right? You were short. This next question is very important, and it's a rhetorical one. And it's one that I hope we're going to be answering today in this training. What will be different? At the beginning of 2024, you said what you wanted to earn, what you wanted to do, what you wanted to produce. By the end of 2024, most of you did not achieve it. Some of you did, some of you came close, most of you did not. We're at the beginning of 2025. You're deciding what you want to produce, how much you want to make, how much you want to sell. What will be different this year to get you to the goal that you didn't hit last year? So keep that in mind. That's what we're going to be working on today. First, we're going to talk about what you don't control, and then we're going to talk about what you do control, and we're going to go through some exercises. And then I will be talking about that business plan after we do this. And if you guys stick around with me, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do a free skill training with us. Okay. It's called the Appointment Accelerator. I'm going to show you how to do it at the end of today's webinar. Who likes free? If you like free, chat in me. Why do I keep making you chat? Because I can't see your faces. I don't know if you're off making a sandwich right now or not. Good. Okay. Here's what you don't control. The market, unfortunately. The weather. I wish I could. I'm in Philadelphia right now. It's freezing. The seasons. You don't control the buyers. You don't control the sellers. You don't control the other agents. Oh my God, how much easier would our jobs be if we could control the other agents? The lending, or the hours in a day. Okay. We don't control the hours in a day. What I mean is, we control what we do with the hours. We don't control how many we get. We all get the same 24. Here's what we do control. My mindset. I want you to write these down because we're going to go through an exercise. So write them down as I go through them. I control my mindset, my perspective, my focus, my consistency, my community, my skills, my speed, my volume, and my schedule. Okay? These are the things that we control. Short list. And we can put most of them into these buckets. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, and what I want you to think about as I'm going through these, what are the habits or patterns for each of these that do not serve you, that get in the way of you achieving your goals, or of you hitting where you want to get to, right? Of you earning what you want, of you growing your business to where you want it to be, of you selling the number of homes that you want, or even leveraging yourself out of production. So what are your habits and patterns? And we all have them. I'm going to go through these real quick, and I'm going to do it by giving you some personal stories of mine. So if there's any techniques or strategies that I use that can help you, then I want to give that to you. But as I'm talking through this, think about yourself, think about how it works for you and what kind of things get in the way. So mindset and perspective, hugely important, right? I would argue probably the most important of all. And what I can tell you is that I frequently and have over the past and still do occasionally struggle with mindset and perspective. So, I get into a situation where I'm a bit of a perfectionist. If I can't do it the best, or if I can't be the only, then I'll quit, right? Not that I'm a sore loser, not that I'm a poor sport, but just in my mind, as I'm doing the math, is this going to work out? Will I be the best at it? Will it be great? And if it doesn't live up to that kind of measurement, then I don't want to do it at all. And I just shy away from it, or I procrastinate doing it. Also, mindset and perspective, we all get into funks sometimes more of us, sometimes less, right? Depending on who you are and how you think. And so one of the things that I get into is, even just before getting on this webinar, I've been doing webinars for a number of years now for thousands of people, speaking from stage, all sorts of stuff. And there's two ways that I can look at doing this. One way can be, oh my God, I got to do this thing again for all these people, and it's not going to make a difference. This is a waste of my time. I want to do something else. The other way that I can look at it is, there are going to be at least a few people on this webinar, on this training, or going to hear me speak today, right now. And what I do is going to make an impact for them and their lives and their businesses. And if I don't show up and do it, they won't get that impact. Those two different perspectives really inform or have a massive impact on my energy and whether I'm going to do the thing or not, or how I feel even in doing it. And so, sometimes when I'm approaching doing a webinar, for instance, or calling leads, for instance, I'll be in that first mindset where I'm like, oh, this sucks. This isn't going to work out. It's a waste of time. Isn't going to be great. Whenever I hear that going on and I can switch over to the other perspective, which is there are individuals that this will make an impact for who need this now, where I will succeed in this, they will succeed, it will be good, I'll feel great. That's a very different perspective to have. And that gives you energy to move forward and do things. So for me, I have a technique. I refer to it as the forest or the trees, right? When I'm focused on the forest, it's overwhelming and it seems like a daunting thing. And I see it as a monolithic concept. When I break that forest into the individual trees is when I can say, okay, I can see opportunity here. And I know that there's opportunity in and amongst these individual trees, right? I don't know if that analogy makes sense for you guys or if it's helpful at all, but I'm just talking about the things I have to do with my own mindset and perspective to help me move forward and stay positive and stay productive. Along with mindset and perspective, I try to find people, I try to find resources, mentors, gurus, people who are out there in the world sharing ideas, content, perspectives, motivation. Somebody I really like listening to is Alex Hormozy. He's pretty awesome. His last name is spelled Hormozi. If you don't know who he is, go check out his YouTube channel. He has tons of really great business advice, not necessarily real estate specific advice, but amazing business advice for all of us business owners. So I go and I find the resources that I need. So some of the bad habits I have would be procrastination, overwhelm, perfectionism. And what I have to do to combat those things is I have to create little, not mnemonics, but little phrases or concepts like forest versus the trees to help myself out. Another one that I use is called, I call it today's layer of work, right? Almost like you were painting something. So instead of me looking at a project or looking at my business or looking at, gaining more clients or raising our, increasing our income from a year-to-year basis, I can look at that as a big, overwhelming project. So what I have to remind myself is go and apply today's layer of work. I write it in my journal. I remind myself to shift out of that all or nothing perspective into the incremental perspective of applying today's layer of work. So when I say or read in my journal, apply today's layer of work, to me, that signals, hey, get out of that big picture, overwhelm, and just show up and do the workout of the day, right? That's what it is. So for me, that's mindset and perspective. Where are you? What habits or patterns do you have that get in the way of you taking action, of you taking action consistently, of you maintaining your focus, which focus and consistency are the next one on the list, right? Uh, what habits do you have around your mindset and perspective that sort of, you know, cascade throughout the rest of this that you know you need to work on? Now let's go to focus and consistency. How focused are you? Are you focused down to what you need to do to grow your business, what your goals are, and what you need to do, the activities that you need to do to grow your business? Are you trying to do too many things at one time? Are you switching focus, right? Are you jumping around to different social media platforms trying to build your business? Are you going from internet leads to sphere of influence to open house to door knocking to all these different things without actually doing any one of them very good? That is one thing that really kills businesses a lot. In fact, for a long time in our coaching and training company, we were doing all sorts of stuff, right? We were on all these different social media platforms, email, events, all sorts of things. And what I realized was we really weren't doing any one of them very good. So 2025, Q1, our focus is our sales process. We have plenty of people getting introduced to our brand. What is the transition for those people being introduced to our brand, to having a direct interaction with us, to starting to consume or signing up for one of our programs, and then ascending through our training series? That's what we're focused on. What are you focused on, right? I can tell you, and if you look at the business plan, there are just a couple of key metrics on there that you have to be focused on. What habits or patterns do you have in your focus that are preventing you from getting to your goals and to staying focused on your goals? Consistency. What habits or patterns do you have around consistency? Are you consistent or are you not? And, you know, I've been in this industry for a long time. As we all know, there's a whole lot of squirrels. A lot of us are squirrels and we're jumping around. We're inconsistent. Focus is all over the place. We don't do any one thing super consistently. And we know that it shows up in our results and it shows up in our businesses. So what habits or patterns do you have that aren't serving you? Let's talk about your skills. I saw that there's several new people that are in here. They were in the chat, right? So this applies less to the newer people, but more to those of us who have been in the business for a while. And that would be your habits or patterns around your skills. Here's what I know. If you aren't actively working on your skill set, brushing up your skill set, or learning new skill sets around scripting and dialogue and sales process and approach, then you are becoming outdated and you are just falling back on the old stuff that you've always done, assuming that it's going to get you what it's always gotten you. So that habit or pattern starts to get rusty, right? None of us likes to get out there, put ourselves out there, discover that we don't know as much as we thought or that we aren't as good as we thought we are. However, it just limits you. It limits your growth. So where around your skills do you have habits or patterns right now that are not serving you to be able to get you more appointments, be able to convert the kinds of leads that you haven't converted in the past? And now speed and volume, I kind of put these together. So I'll give you an example. I tend to be a very slow, procrastinating type of person. So I don't get to leads in business quickly. I don't respond quickly. And in the past, when I first started selling real estate, I would call. I was prospecting. I didn't text. I didn't email. All I did was call. And I didn't have any systems. I didn't have any automation. I didn't have any email messages. I didn't have any text messages going out, right? So the volume of people that I could talk to really came down to how much time did I spend each day banging out phone calls and how many people answered. Then, as I progressed and got better at what I did, added in texting and emails and a CRM and messaging campaigns and all of that other stuff to increase the volume of contacts that could be made during the same amount of time. So what habits or patterns do you have around your speed of getting to your leads, of working your system, or your volume of how many people you're contacting or interacting with, what habits or patterns do you have that are holding you back? And then schedule. Schedule. How many of you have a time blocked schedule? Chat in me if you have a time blocked schedule. Chat it in. I know you guys fell asleep. If you have a time block schedule, chat in me. Let's see if anybody's still here. Or maybe my computer died. Nope, there's 71 people here. Mark McCarthy, look at that. Okay, keep going. Me. Don't have a time schedule. All right. Now, of those of you who have a time blocked schedule, how many of you don't actually do what you wrote on your calendar? Chat in me. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, here's what I want you to do. My schedule is at the bottom, but here's what I want you to focus on, okay? I want you to identify what habits or patterns you have that are not supporting you. So I just gave you one example. I have a time blocked schedule, but I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. Okay, that's a habit, right? It's a pattern. Why? Why are you not doing what you said you were going to do? Is it because you're not properly prioritized? You're trying to do it all at the same time with no priority? Is it because you have priority and you know what's important, but you're afraid of doing it, or you're reluctant to do it, or you are afraid of failure, or you're afraid of the rejection, whatever it is? I want you to figure out, what is it about the schedule and about doing what you said you were going to and what you need to do that is a habit or pattern, and what's underlying that? Why is that? I'll give you an example. And I'm just going to use, let's use talking to clients, okay? So in my coaching and training company, we have training clients, right? We have clients and teams who come to us for training. One of the things that I should be doing for my company is actively talking to our clients, because I don't do a lot of the training. But I need to be talking to the clients to get feedback, to see how they're doing, to improve what we do, to make changes, and generally increase or improve our processes. And I've been very reluctant to do that. And here, do you want to know the dirty secret as to why? This is the way my brain works. And I'm being dead honest with you. So don't hold it against us and don't choose not to train with us because of this. Here's how my brain works. I'm like, okay, those people are clients now. That's old money. I have anxiety and I need to go find new money. Where are the new clients at? That's how my brain works. So that's a pattern that I have, which causes me, when I get to that time block on my schedule where I'm supposed to be talking to clients, I'm like, no. I want to go find new clients. We need new clients. A big portion of the success of my company is focusing on and making an impact for every single client who comes to us. And so spending the time talking to the existing clients is a worthwhile endeavor. But I'm just giving you an example of how my mind works, that when I get to that time block, I decide I need to do something else because I feel like it's more important, or I'm missing out on something else. And so in order to combat that, what I have to do is just commit to following my schedule and get started, right? Because then what I've discovered is, once I start having conversations with our clients, I enjoy it. I actually like making an impact in people's lives and businesses. And once I start talking to the individual trees, I start to get to know them, and I get to figure out, hey, that's awesome. This is how we're impacting them. Or, oh my gosh, this trainer didn't tell them this thing they have access to. So I need to go and help my trainer make sure they're doing the job correctly so that our clients know what they have access to and make even more impact in them. This all came just from the concept of schedule, everybody. Okay. So I went through this whole rabbit hole with you around schedule and what habits or patterns you have around your schedule. If you look at your schedule now and you have certain things that you know you need to do and you put them on there, you put them on there for a reason. And if you think or start to avoid doing whatever it is, there is some chain of thought or feeling that is preventing you from doing those things. And if you can take some time and think about it and try to break it down, it will be very helpful for you so that you can actually start doing the thing you said you were going to do. Here's what I have actually done a ton of work, and we'll go to the next one. So actually, I'm going to talk about this in the next step. So you guys have all of these written down. You've been thinking about your habits or patterns, and now here's what you're going to do. And first, I just want to tell you this. This is another one that I keep that helps me a lot, right? I talked about forest or the trees. I talked about today's layer of work. Now, progress, not perfection. Remember, I said I'm a perfectionist. Progress, not perfection, is one that I have to remind myself of. So, for instance, I'm working with a nutritionist right now. So I exercise at home. I have a gym and I work with a nutritionist. Do you know what kind of pain in the ass it is to track everything that you eat? It sucks, especially if you're like me and you like wings and beer and burgers. So tracking everything that you eat can be a real pain in the ass. And before, in the past, when I would try this and I failed at it, it was either pretty much all or nothing, right? It was like I was either doing it hardcore, do it all the time, and then I would forget to track something or forget, like give up doing it on a Saturday, and then it would just sort of be done. And I would just walk away from it because I couldn't do it perfectly, or, it just didn't make sense. To me, a little bit didn't make sense, or some didn't make sense. It was either all or nothing. Now, with the help of this concept of progress, not perfection, I can get back on the horse much faster, right? If I have a weekend where I only track breakfast and lunch and dinner goes to shit, that's okay. I just get back up the next morning and track breakfast again, right? I get back on it and it's okay. I'm letting go of the concept of perfection. I'm going to keep doing it as much or as little as I'm willing to do. And the point is, I'm going to keep doing it, right? And the more that I do it, the more consistent I get, the more regular it gets, and the easier it gets. Versus trying to start and do it perfectly and then quitting if it's not perfect, and then waiting to start again until I feel like it's going to be perfect this time. So incremental improvement, massive. Now, as we go through this, here's what I want you to do. We're going to go through this list again. I want you to identify what you can eliminate, what you can change, or what you can adopt around this list, right, that we just went through. What I mean by that, we identified your habits and patterns. What about those habits and patterns can you eliminate or get rid of? Or what can you change or adopt? What do I mean by adopt? So let's take, for instance, mindset and perspective. Do you know anybody, or have you listened to anyone, or even if I give you some advice or tips today that you can just adopt and say, hey, I think that tool or that strategy or that perspective will work for me. Let me adopt it, right? That's what I mean by adopt. Just copy it. So eliminate, change, or adopt. I want you to go through these, and I'm just going to talk through a few. Hopefully it jogs your memory. Hopefully it gives you some ideas. Actually do this. Is this helpful? If this is helpful for you, chat in yes. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm on the mark here. Honestly, everybody, I feel like this is a lot better than being like, hey, how many houses do you want to sell, right? And how many appointments do you have to go on? Because that's pretty simple. The whole stuff that happens in your head and in your emotions that get in the way of you having the conversations you need to have, to ask for the appointment you need to ask for, to show up and get them to buy or sell that house and sign that paper with you. That stuff doesn't happen on that business planner. That stuff in your head and in your emotions happens here and going through this kind of work and thinking through this stuff. Okay, so let's talk about mindset and perspective. Eliminate, change, or adopt. I just want to give you an example. So I follow a lot of artists on Instagram, like visual arts, painting, sculpture, that kind of stuff. I went to art school. I love that stuff. So I follow that stuff on Instagram. And, and a lot of times I would wake up in the morning, first thing, I grab my phone because I'm not ready to get out of bed. So I'm scrolling, I'm just looking at art on Instagram. But the funny thing is that algorithm knows I'm a business owner and they know that I'm in real estate. So every third post, what do I see? I see these internet bullshit gurus who are 18 years old, still live in their mom's basement, and want to tell me that they've found the holy grail of making $1 bajillion before you ever get out of bed. Now, I know it's bullshit. I know they're full of it. I know it's completely made up, but just seeing it in my feed makes my subconscious look at it, consider it, and then say, is this true or not? Have they really found the holy grail for $1 bajillion before getting out of bed, right? And then my conscious mind is like, no, that's a bunch of crap. Don't believe that. But the back of my head is like, but maybe they did. Maybe they got this thing. Maybe they figured it out. Maybe you're wrong, Dale. Maybe you're going down the wrong path. Maybe you should just give up and just go try doing what they're doing instead of this coaching and training crap, right? All that was happening in the back of my head. And even though my conscious brain was fighting against it, it was still in the back of my head. So I found that in the mornings, I'm like in a negative mood. You know, my thoughts are pessimistic. I'm kind of cranky. And I finally put two and two together. And I was like, you know, it's funny. I think that whole scrolling and running across all those BS buy my course ads on the internet are having an effect on my brain. And so I just stopped doing it. That's all I did. First thing in the morning, I don't pick up my phone and I don't start scrolling. So I don't see those things, those suggestions, those concepts, those ideas that my conscious mind then has to fight against. So that is a habit or a pattern that I identified that was affecting my mindset and perspective that I just simply eliminated or changed my behavior, right? It's not that I don't have social media anymore. It's not that I don't go on Instagram. It's just that first thing in the morning, I just stopped doing that, right? Not first thing in the morning. Let me get up. Let me wake up. Let me feel energetic, right? Let me get my day right in my mind and be more optimistic, which I naturally most of the time am first thing in the morning without that negative influence that's unnecessary. So is there anything like that for you that you could do, that you could change around your mindset or your perspective? Because here's the thing that I know that I've figured out is, and I was thinking about this today as I was equating it to making calls and making contacts. And that's how much our perspective changes things. So for instance, and I'll try to articulate this to you, but I really haven't worked it out. If I said to you, hey, I want you, let's go down to the casino. Here's a pair of dice. I want you to throw this 10 times, but every 10, if you throw it 10 times, every one of them is going to be a loser. How motivated would you be to grab the dice and throw it? You would not be very motivated. Versus if I said to you, hey, grab these dice, throw it 10 times. One out of those 10 are going to be a winner and you'll make $100,000 in cash and I'll pay you right now. You don't know which one. You don't know whether it's the first throw or the 10th throw, but one throw is going to be worth $100,000. How many of you would snatch the dice out of my hand immediately? The difference there is perspective. Here, I believe it's not going to work. Here, I believe it will work. I don't know when, but I believe it will work. This is the difference between people who consistently make their contacts versus people who don't make their contacts. The people who don't make their contacts typically are looking at it like, this isn't going to work. I don't see the payoff in it. Versus those people who try to tell you that they don't mind rejection. It's not true that they don't mind rejection. Nobody likes rejection unless you're a sociopath or unless you have the perspective that one of these is going to pay off. I'm going to keep doing it because one's going to pay off. So that kind of mindset and perspective shift makes a massive difference. Your mindset and perspective really control a lot of what you do, what you're willing to do, how much energy you have to do it, and whether you execute on your time blocks or not. So what can you eliminate? What can you change? What can you adopt about your own mindset and perspective? Let's talk about focus and consistency. So quick story about me, obviously my focus jumps around too. I'm a business owner and I'm an idea guy. I'm a big picture guy. I love brand new ideas. Do you know how amazing brand new ideas are? They are so sweet and attractive because what you haven't figured out yet is how much work and difficulty there will be around executing on that new idea. But new ideas are great, right? So I'm constantly jumping around to new ideas and new ways of doing things when really what I have to do is I have to identify the core principles of what will move my business forward. And I have to keep doing those, even when I don't feel like doing it. And that gets to consistency. So identifying for me the pattern of wanting to jump around and try something new, there's a term, it's something like I'm going to butcher this. It's like the ignorance of, no, I can't remember what it is. Anyway, there's a concept where you have this new idea. The new idea looks so shiny and new and fun to you because you just don't have the full depth of knowledge. You are sort of deluded about how easy or simple it will be. And what you don't know is that every new thing comes with its new problems and its new difficulties and its new decisions and its new struggles that you have to work through and figure out. But nobody ever thinks about that. Most people don't when it comes to new ideas. So again, focus and consistency. What can you eliminate? What can you change? What can you adopt? For consistency and focus, do you just need to pare down? Do you need to prioritize? Do you need to put in functions for yourself that will help you put barriers on what you're doing? So one of the things that I do for my focus and consistency is, especially if I have a project that I have to work on that I don't want to do, if I have to write some copy for something, if I have to make some changes in our lead sort of, capture platform or whatever it is, I basically, when I get to the time block, if it's an hour, a half hour, I set the timer on my phone. I set the timer and I can't do anything else except that thing I said I was going to do. I can't go and start scrolling the internet or looking up random esoteric things. I have to stay focused on what the task is. And this is another kicker for me. This is one way that I get myself to do these things. And it's one way I used to get myself to work out too, which was if I get to the workout time or I get to the time block where I have to do the thing I said I was going to do, I have to show up. I have to be dressed for working out, but I don't actually have to work out. I can't do anything else. I could sit there if I want, but I only have two options: do nothing and sit there for the allotted time, or work out. Same idea with working on a project. Show up, I have the tab open, I have the tool open, I have the software open. For that a period of time, while that timer's running, I can't do anything else. I've got two options: do nothing or do the thing I said I was going to do. It's amazing. I have never done nothing, because when I sit there, when you sit there and you're like, I got two options, right? Okay, I'm going to start working on this thing. It's helped me stay focused and not task switch. All right. Community. This is a big one. This helped me out a lot, especially when I was newer in the business and I didn't have a sphere of influence or past clients, and I needed to be making contacts. I needed to be talking to people so that I could book listing appointments, take listings, et cetera, et cetera. When I first started in the business, I was in a big office that had like these half walls where everybody could hear you. And almost nobody in my office was prospecting, making phone calls and talking to strangers. And so I would be trying to do it and everybody could hear me. It was embarrassing. I wasn't very good. I was getting shut down. It was really difficult to do that. So most people would just give up and stop doing it. Fortunately, I found a couple of other people in my office. We chose a conference room and we went in there and we prospected together. We made phone calls together. We role played together. And usually the same people would show up so that we were all doing the same thing. So it wasn't weird. It was weird when I was sitting out with all those other agents who, I don't know how they got their business, but somehow magically did without talking to anybody. And I was doing it the hard way. But then when I found that community of other people doing the same thing, having the same goals, taking the same actions, putting themselves out there, that made it so much better. That supported me. So you in your community, do you have people around you that are doing the same things, that have the same kind of goals, that want to get to the same place, that are taking the same kind of activities, that are working the same kind of leads? That's important. It really helps you. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. Follow Up Boss obviously has a fantastic online, like a Facebook group. Your brokerage, your area, your general market of other agents you've done business with, if you guys do those, if you happen to talk to any of them, find those who are actively building their businesses. Obviously, within my coaching and training company, that's a big part of it, is having community and having other people. So we have these twice daily classes called the Power Sessions. And in those classes, you end up role playing with other people from other markets, other agents, other ISAs, things like that. So it's a place to meet people. and role playing with the trainer, obviously. So having a community like that makes a big difference. All right. So let's talk about eliminate, change, adopt. I need to move forward. I'm taking too long. Sorry, guys. I'm long winded. And I need to get down to that free training that we're going to offer you. So, what can you do about eliminating, changing, or adopting your habits or patterns around your skills? Your speed and volume, how many people you're communicating with, how often, how fast, how much communication you're doing, and your schedule. How are you staying to your schedule? Here's a tip for my new agents. There's one way to find success in this business, and there's one way to fail out of this business. One sure way. The sure way to find success in this business is if you did nothing else, making your contacts every day. That is one sure way to be successful in this business. You literally can screw up everything else, right? You can screw up your paperwork. You can screw up the support. You can screw up following up with people. You can screw up the deal. You will still be successful if you talk to enough people, because enough people will do business with you in spite of that stuff, that you'll be successful. The one way to fail out of this business is to not make your contacts, is to consistently not talk to people to find buyers and sellers of real estate. That is the one thing. So my tip to all of you is that when it comes down to your schedule, the first thing I want you to nail down is you put lead generation on your schedule and you show up and do it. That's the first skill I want you to develop for yourself. All the rest of it can go to shit. Get lead gen on your schedule, get several time blocks on your schedule, develop the ability to show up, do the lead gen every single time, and you will be successful. And then work on the other stuff. Okay. So a couple books, The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. This is a big one. And I'm going to go quick here because we're running out of time and everybody's like, who is that author? So if you can, somebody do me a favor, post it for everybody else. It's The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. This is a massive one. Big point is you'll never feel like doing it until you start doing it. Another one is Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy. You know, I talked about community. He talks more about systems, structure, how to build your environment, how to build your world, your community, how to build things around yourself that support what it is you say you want to do and the action that you say you're going to take. That's a really great book for that one. All right. So let's, I told you guys it really wasn't going to be about the business planner. I'm going to bring this up real quick. We're going to pop through this, and then I'm going to talk to you about the free training that we have for you. So I think it's super self-explanatory, right? We've got your first page. This is what you want to do in 2025, what you want to achieve. And for me, I'm just going to tell you what the most important parts. You can slice this and dice this any way that you want and have all of that information in there. But for me, the most important thing is, how much money do I want to make? How many houses do I have to sell in order to make that money? And then here we have buyer appointments met, listing appointments met. But me, I would just really consolidate it into how many appointments do I have to meet with for the year, break that down to the month and to the week in order to sell that many houses, right? How many appointments total do I have to set? Whether you want to break it out into buyer, seller or not is up to you. But for me, how many total number of appointments do I have to set to meet with the number of appointments I know I need to sell what I want to sell? And then this here, total contacts, right? The 4 key metrics that we focus on in our coaching company are contacts, appointments set, appointments met, contracts signed. That's what we focus on in our training and our accountability for our clients. That's what's most important here. If you want to get down into the weeds about how many exact buyers or sellers you're going to do or where exactly they're coming from, great, go for it. But if you're not really tracking anything, most importantly, 4 key metrics. How many contacts do I need to make in order to set the number of appointments that I need in order for the right number of buyers and sellers to show up for those appointments so that I can get the number of contracts and closings that I need for the year? Those 4 key concepts. And then what you do is page 2. So You guys have a whole business planner here, right? About adding sources, eliminating sources. Where did my business come from? What do I want to focus on? How am I going to grow my database? All that's great. If you do nothing else, get the key elements on page 1, start tracking the info on page 2. Okay. Page 2. This is where you just go along. So at the end of January, in 20 whatever days, you're going to fill this out, right? How many contacts did I actually make in January? How many appointments did I set? How many did I meet with? And here, either how many closings or how many contracts did I get for the month. Track it each month. How many of you write down your goals at the beginning of the year and don't look at them until July or September? Yeah, you ever done that? I've done that. This will help you not do that. Fill this out at the end of the year, end of the month, each month, and then you will know by the month and by the quarter, am I on track or am I not? And just remember this: progress, not perfection. What would be amazing to me is if you showed up in December of 2025 with this page 2 and you had some data filled in on it, right? But you had some data all the way through, right, to quarter 4. That would be a win. Whether it's perfect or not, just having some data on it, right? Hey, I knew what I was supposed to do. I paid attention here and there, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I stuck with it for the year. If you do that, I guarantee that you will improve over 2024 by at least 25 to 30%. So that's what really matters. Okay, let's go back over here. I'm going to pop through these because we're at the end of time and I want to talk to you about the free training that we do. And it's really around the basics. I don't want you to write off these basics because we've been doing this a long time. I've been training and coaching salespeople for a very long time and working with some of the top teams around the country. And here's what I can tell you. Even some of those massive producing teams have a big skill gap among their agents. Their agents are leaving deals on the table that they could otherwise get, leads that could have been converted, appointments that could have been had, closings that could have been made. And a lot of it comes down to a skill gap that they have. And these 4 core elements: introductions, how you get into a conversation with a lead; objections, obviously, how you deal with no, not yet, or not with you; how you articulate your value as a buying agent or a listing agent; and how you close for a logical appointment with a buyer seller makes all the difference in whether or not you get that appointment and get that closing.
There we go. All right, everybody. So I just wanted to talk about the training. And chat in for me if you guys are getting something out of today. Chat it in. I know I'm long-winded. I apologize. Excellent. Okay, wonderful. Good. It should be an insightful presentation. Okay, so I had mentioned free training a couple of times, everybody. Do you want to know the problem that we've discovered? Is that we have what's called the Appointment Accelerator training. And I just showed you those 4 key elements, right? Introductions, objection handling, value proposition, and closing. And here's what I'm going to tell you. When you're really strong and very skilled at all 4 of those elements, any lead, any prospect, any consumer is a lead. They're either a lead now or a lead in the future, and you can convert like you can't believe. The problem is we used to offer it for free. Guess what happened? It was so popular, we had so many people that it literally exploded my trainers' schedules. I only have 5 trainers because our training company does not just take on anybody to do training for us. They have to not only be successful in real estate, but they have to go through an intensive training program to become a trainer for us. So when we offered the training for free, it literally exploded the calendar for like 60 days out. So here's what we do now. It's a fee. You pay a fee. It's $97 to have 50 minutes, almost an hour, with a trainer specifically just for you. And they're going to go through just you by yourself through your introductions, your objection handling process, your value prop, and your closing skill. They're going to role play with you, and they're going to give you immediate feedback that you can use right now to have much better conversations with your leads. It will explode your confidence, and it will explode your results, and it costs you 97 bucks. So if you want to do it, do they give scripts? They teach you the script, Luigi. Yes, but Luigi, I want to make this super important important point. If you want scripts, go to one of those other Me Too coaching companies that teaches you garbage, or go download it off the internet. What we teach are principles. When we teach you the principles of how to think around the introductions, how to think around the objections, how to think around your value and around closing, and then get you to demonstrate it for us, you gain an advantage for life over all of your other competitors. So I'm going to drop a quick poll. Actually, here's what we're going to do, because I don't have the information teed up for it. So do this. If you want to do the Appointment Accelerator training, the 50-minute training with a trainer and you, drop your email into the chat. We will follow up with you. It's 97 bucks to do it. We'll follow up with you. I'll send you a payment link. You submit the 97 bucks, and then 97 American, Cheryl. I'm sorry. My mortgage company only accepts American dollars, so it has to be an American. So $97 American. What we will do is I'll send you a payment link. You fill out, you submit the payment, and then I'll send you a quick survey. And you're going to answer some questions on the survey. And once you answer the questions on the survey, we'll place you with a trainer, and we'll give you some options for the day and time of your training. Sound good? And then from there, what happens is, you get on with the trainer. You're going to learn a ton. You're going to love it. Like you're going to, hopefully at this point, if you've ever seen me do training like now, it's all value. You're going to pay 97 bucks. You're going to show up. You're going to be amazed. Your wig is going to be blown back. You're going to learn some amazing things. And then at that point, if you want to know about our training programs or how much it costs or what would be right for you, the trainer is more than happy to talk with you about it. But if you don't, no worries. Okay. And here's the kicker. For those of you that get nervous about it, if you get on and you're like, this was crap, I wasted my $97, I didn't learn anything, you email me back and you say, hey, thank you, but can I have my 97 back because I didn't learn $97 worth of material, and I will give that back to you. How does that sound? Does it work for Canadians? Our laws are a bit different here. Yes, Luigi, it absolutely works for Canadians. We have many Canadian clients from East Coast to West Coast, and the things that we're not teaching real estate contracts, and we don't do dumb things like, oh, hey, Luigi, just run out and call all the for sale by owners. That doesn't work in Canada, right? What we teach are core sales skills that literally, if you learn this, you could pretty much go sell anything in any country. It doesn't matter. It comes down to conversational skill. It has nothing to do with local laws or ordinances, if that makes sense, okay? We're not teaching you contract law. We're teaching you sales. We're teaching you personal interaction and persuasion skills so that you can get onto a call with a lead. You can keep that lead on a call or text or email. You can overcome their objections confidently and feeling really good about it. You can tell them why they should buy or sell a house with you, and you can close them for a face-to-face or a video-to-video meeting in a really great, productive way that wins more than it loses. Certainly wins more than what you're winning right now. Okay, good. So Rico changed how we interact now. Okay, Leanne, I get it. I'm 99.9% sure that nothing we teach you is going to run afoul of that stuff. As long as you handle the legal stuff, we handle the people-to-people persuasion stuff, we should be fine. Okay? Right. Yeah. No, I'm not. This training that you're doing for 97 bucks is not about go call this lead source. It's not about say this to those, to try to get this kind of lead or, it has nothing to do with that. It's all just around a sales dialogue, right? How do you conduct a really good sales dialogue? You're in charge of, am I allowed to call these people or not? We don't get into that territory with you. Okay. Am I allowed to follow up with these people or not? We don't get into that territory with you. For the people that you're allowed to call, for the people that you're allowed to text, for the people that you're allowed to speak to about real estate services, we will give you amazing, impactful scripting that will make a change in your business today. Is that good enough explanation? Chat in yes if that works. Okay, good. Excellent. Now, drop your email in the chat. Love to see you. And even if you don't do the training with us, no big deal. Happy that you showed up. I hope that you took from this what you need and that it's going to make an impact for you in your business in 2025. And come back and see us when you are ready to do a training with us. Bye. Thank you.